What happened? Like, did the cast realize when they were acting in these scenes that their director probably had no fucking idea what he was doing? Or that the writers had lazily thrown together another subpar fantasy film that would only draw an audience just because it's based on a story that a lot of people know just from growing up? Because this was bad. It was by no means the worst thing I've ever seen, but it is one of the worst movies I've seen in years. Like, easily. Like, I just don't understand this. Here it is. Here it is. This movie's freaking awesome. Watch it again. Judge quickly. So he didn't want to watch the movie, but after 10 minutes he thought it was pretty badass. Looks like a work of art. It's freaking awesome. Like this one in particular, this looks like a work of art. And I just watched this movie. It was freaking awesome. I don't know, this just kind of... Those just kind of feel like comments that like someone... Like Disney realized they had a piece of shit on their hands. And so they hired a bunch of people, to go out and make false comments so that other people would join in and agree with them. These comments are so confusing to me. Like, everything about this movie was just piss poor awful. Except Angelina Jolie. I will give her that. She's an experienced actress. She was really the only redeemable part of the movie, and even then she wasn't great. It felt like she was trying really hard to pull a great performance out of a really bad script. We have the first 15 minutes establish the background of the world of men, and then the world of the fantasy of the creatures. And the creatures live in this gigantic forest, and the world of men, they live in this castle, in this city. And they were at war for a long time, but the war stopped, and they're at kind of an unstable peace. And then Maleficent, who is a fairy, played by Angelina Jolie, is like the most powerful creature in the woods, and she meets a young boy from the land of men, and they're really good friends when they're young, and then when they're 16 they fall in love, and they're in love for like 20 to 30 years. Like seriously, like 30 years pass and they're in love, and it seems totally flawless, and they're great together. And then the men decide to try to go to war with the creatures for no reason. And the men lose because the creatures are fucking magical, and they're giant, and they're way more powerful. And then for absolutely no reason, the boy who Maleficent has been in love with her whole life, for seriously like decades, they've been in love, and he comes to visit. He's been coming to visit her regularly for like 30 years. For no reason, he decides he wants to be king, and in order to be king, it's whoever goes out and kills Maleficent. The king says, you can, I will give you my reign, and you will take over after I'm dead. And so he goes out and he finds Maleficent, and he can't kill her, but like he can't go through with it, but he still cuts off her wings. He cuts off her wings, and he brings them back to the king, and he's like, look, I brought these for you because I killed Maleficent. The king's like, okay, you're king. And then the guy gets severely depressed and manic psychotic, and his life fucking sucks, and he's never happy, and he's like always kind of just crazed, and like for no reason. Like the only part of this king of this guy that we know are when he's a little kid, and he grows into a man, and this whole time he's in love with Maleficent, and everything's great. And then like that, for no reason, with no development whatsoever, he betrays her because he wants to be king. Like why did he do that? Like when was that a part of his character? When was that part of his character established? It just happened. The biggest problem with Maleficent, the movie, is that it is not trying to adapt a fairy tale into a film. It is literally just taking like a 20-page version of Sleeping Beauty and copy pasting it onto the screen, or onto the script page rather. This movie is so bland. It's so simple. We get no development from anyone except Maleficent. And given her development is good, but it's too fast. She in order to get revenge on the new king who betrayed her, she puts a curse on his newborn daughter named Aurora, who is Sleeping Beauty, that when she turns 16 years old, she's going to get pinpricked, and then she's going to fall into a sleep that can only be undone by true love's kiss. And of course, Maleficent believes that true love does not exist because of her experience with Aurora's father. Okay, makes sense. Cool. That totally justifies why she would make that the curse, because she knows true love does not exist. And surely enough, Maleficent watches over the Aurora as she grows up, is basically like a surrogate mother to her, because she like saves her life a few times and like totally just like helps her in all these situations when she's a kid. And then eventually she brings her into the forest and she's like, here, you can just hang out here and we'll have a great time together and I'll be like your surrogate mother. And it's just, it's like, as far as the scope of the whole movie goes, as soon as Maleficent puts the curse on Aurora, 10 to 15 minutes later, she's going back on the curse and being like, oh no, I feel bad. I love this girl and she's so innocent. And so surely enough, as the story goes, Aurora falls into a sleep and becomes Sleeping Beauty. And this prince tries to kiss her, this prince who literally had 2 minutes of screen time. And he tries to kiss her and wake her up. Doesn't work. Okay, that's fine. And then they pull a Frozen. You know how Aurora can only be awoken by true love's kiss. And of course, true love's kiss turns out to be Maleficent's kiss. She kisses her on the forehead because she's like, oh no, I'm sorry, I put this curse on you. You're going to sleep forever. And I'll kiss you on the forehead and I'll leave. And then she wakes up because apparently that was a solution the whole time that I'm sure nobody fucking saw coming. That Maleficent would be the one to free Sleeping Beauty from her sleep, which, by the way, she is in for about 15 minutes. I don't mean 15 minutes of the movie. I mean 15 minutes of real time. Sleeping Beauty is only asleep for like she falls asleep, she gets carried to her room, Maleficent breaks into the castle and wakes her up. The curse only lasts for like 15 minutes, and then they escape and there's some fight scene and it's over. And the kingdoms are at peace now. Like, that's it. That's the whole movie. It seriously felt like it was 30 minutes long. I paid $12.50 for that?